the use of feedback form. This form is used to tabulate your use of feedback in your lessons. When we look at feedback, we're looking at them in two major categories. So skill feedback and behavior feedback. And then for both of the skill and behavior feedback categories, we have further defined the feedback categories into positive specific, positive general, corrective specific, and corrective general categories. So all you need to do here is to watch your videotape, write down your feedback statements, and then indicate which type of feedback statement it is. One comment here, with the use of some general feedback statements like nice and good, this could be applied to either a skill-based feedback statement or a behavior-based feedback statement. The reason you know which one it is because you're watching the videotape. If I say nice relating to somebody shooting basketball, then that's obviously related to skill. If I say nice about somebody's behavior in the class, then that's something to do with behavior. So you would know that from watching the videotape. However, from looking at the sheet when you complete it, you wouldn't be able to figure that out. But that's kind of irrelevant. It's the watching of the videotape is what's important to determining the specific context of the feedback. So you have these different types of feedback statements. So I'm looking at the skill-based feedback example. So having a statement like, I like how you turned your body to the side when striking the tennis ball, that would be a positive specific skill feedback statement. If I just said great shot, that's positive general skill. If I said you need to contact the basketball with your fingertips, not the palm of your hand, that's a corrective specific. Sometimes you might say that's a bad shot or you're doing it wrong, then that would be a corrective general. Although generally, when you correct people performing skills or for anything else, you usually give them more specific feedback. So most of the corrective feedback tends to be specific, whereas a lot of the skill feedback tends to be more general. As far as behavior, the same type of thing. You've got positive specific feedback. So for instance, I really like how everyone is sitting on the numbers. That's behavior. That's giving them specific information and it's positive. You could say something like great behavior in class today. Well, that's positive, but it's general. It doesn't really say what that behavior is. Examples of corrective specific behavior would be things like, Amy, please stop interrupting me when I'm talking to the class. Or Andrew, don't throw the equipment on the floor, you'll break it. Again, when you give corrective feedback, you tend to, more often than not, give corrective specific feedback. You might say something like stop it, where there might be some ambiguity as to what they're supposed to stop. But again, generally, when you're looking at corrective feedback, it tends to be more specific than general. When you tell somebody that they're doing something wrong, you usually tell them exactly what they're doing wrong. You don't usually say, you're doing that wrong. If you get pulled over for speeding, they don't say you were going a little fast. They say that you were going at this specific speed. It's just how it is. So we have this feedback statement form, and what you would do is you would type in the feedback phrase here and then assign a feedback code. So to make this go a little bit quicker, I've kind of created a feedback form example here, and I've already filled it out. So I have these feedback statements in here so that we can look at them. So hurry up, you have 30 seconds to get in your numbers. That's a behavior thing. That's pretty specific. So it's behavior, corrective, specific. I really appreciate how everyone is sitting on your numbers. That's behavior, and it's positive and it's specific because it tells them that what their behavior is. And thanks for raising your hand to ask a question, Jen. That's a positive behavior thing as well. As opposed to good pass is positive general skill. And then excellent follow through on that shot, Gareth. That is positive specific skill, or SPS. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go to the Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to enter this information. Okay, so here we are on the Excel spreadsheet. I've already started typing in one of the statements. So you have, hurry up, you have 30 seconds. To get on your numbers. Okay, this would be corrective specific, and it's in reference to students not getting on their numbers. So I'm going to say this is inappropriate behavior, corrective specific. If you look over here, I've color coded this stuff here so that when you bring it up that they'll change colors. I'm going to add a couple more. Okay, I really appreciate how everyone is sitting on their numbers. So that there is a positive behavior, but it's an appropriate behavior here. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to go appropriate behavior, positive specific. Okay. And then thanks for raising your hand. So again, this is a positive, appropriate behavior, and it's positive and it's specific. And then we get to a couple of these. So good pass, that's related to a skill, but that's general. It's not as positive general. So as you can see here, as I select them, they color code. And then so excellent follow through on that shot. That's positive, but it's specific and it's related to skill. So positive, specific, skill. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to complete the rest of this form because it's basically the same type of thing, and I'll come back to you when I've completed nearly all of those inputs. Okay, I've enlarged the screen to make it easier for you to see, and I've also inputted all the feedback statements so that you wouldn't wait there watching for me to do that. So now all I'm going to do here now is to go through all of these and to assign the specific feedback categories. So I do that by clicking here, and this is inappropriate behavior, corrective specific, and we have this as appropriate behavior, positive specific, and same here. This is a positive general skill. So positive general skill there. And what I'm going to do here is quickly go through all of these. So I've finished all of that here now. So I've entered all of that in. So the cool thing about this now is that it's created graphs for you again. So when we go to the feedback categories here now, it shows you the different types of feedback types. So by skill, positive specific, positive general, corrective specific, corrective general. I didn't have any inappropriate corrective general feedback statements. The major categories of feedbacks then in terms of skill, positive feedback, and skill corrective feedback. So there was an equal amount of positive feedback and corrective feedback. As far as behavior, there was more appropriate behavior feedback and then inappropriate behavior feedback. So that would be good. General or specific feedback. This is also good here. So again, there's more specific feedback by the teacher than general feedback. And then the last thing we have here is actually a breakdown of all of the data here. So you can see the different totals. So this is a representation. So you can see there's more skill feedback than behavior feedback, and it breaks down all of those categories. So what you could do is you could print out this first sheet if you wanted to, print out this graph, print out this graph, print out that graph, print out that graph or that page, and that would be your analysis of your feedback. So it'd be interesting to see if by doing this that you get to see how well you do or what areas you need improving. That concludes the feedback tutorial.